Hey everybody, welcome to No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host Asa, along with Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And this is AEW Weekly, your weekly stop for all things All Elite Wrestling. Let's get right into it with some match results. What do you say, Kay?
Sounds good to me.
So, AEW Dynamite, October 18th. They were in Rosenberg, Texas. And the night will be remembered eternally for one thing, but we will get to that. Opening match, Penta El Zero Miedo, accompanied by Alex Abrahantes, taking on Switchblade Jay White, accompanied by Bullet Club Gold. And they came out, Bullet Club Gold and Card Blade Jay White had they had a cardboard AEW belt,
the Triple B,
duct taped to his hand.
Yeah,
now
awesome.
That was a nice touch. This was a pretty good back and forth match between two of the better athletes in AEW. There was a nice exchange of chops, as there is in oh so many AEW matches, but this one was notable because here, Jay White got chopped, and man, these were ringing out the whole fucking arena. You could hear him. He got the shit chopped out of him, Jay White. They were ringing in his little bones, in his little bird body bones.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought it was unfair, and he was pointing at Penta's singlet. So Penta, takes off his shirt, and then lets Jay White have at him. But Jay White's chops don't match up to Penta's in this onslaught, in this trade-off, rather. But the match ends when Jay White pins Penta after Juice Robinson left-handed Penta with a cubic zirconium ring that Jay White gave to Juice Robinson. That's one of the things with the Bullet Club Gold, when they all come out for a match, they'll have moments where they all rally around the opposing wrestler, and they'll pretend, they'll say, "Oh, we're not touching him, and this and that." They'll do that once or twice or three times, but then they'll start spreading out and spreading their way along the ring, and the referee can only see so many sides of the ring at once, and eventually somebody is going to hit the opposing wrestler,
And that's the benefit of a faction.
Exactly. And this night it was Juice Robinson hitting Penta, which led to the pinfall and the win for Jay White. Very good match. 4 bones out of 5 for Jay White's win over Penta. After the match, Jay White got on the mic for some mic work on MJF, telling him about how he is the true AEW champion because, of course, he still has MJF's belt. So why wouldn't he be the champion? After all that, Juice Robinson gets some mic time, and he talks about his $24.99 cubic zirconium ring that Jay White got him from TJ Maxx.
Can I just interject that at this point we get a TJ Maxx chant from the crowd?
Yeah, they got TJ Maxx over.
Really appreciated.
Yeah. And Juice Robinson says after he wins the Dynamite Dozen Douchebag Battle Royal, he's going to take the real thing and pawn it and get himself another gold tooth. Guns up. I tell you, you gotta like Juice Robinson. He's like
you gotta love him.
He's like a dirty, mangy, disgusting dog.
He's like a creepy uncle that you hope has no nieces or nephews.
Oh, I wouldn't take it that far.
No, he's creepy.
He's definitely creepy. Man, yeah, he's there's they call him like the stray bullet. That's a pretty apt nickname for him, I think.
Well, like anytime Bullet Club beats anyone, he gets down on all fours and pretends to pee on them like a dog.
Yeah. Makes me think of that song by the Stooges, I Wanna Be Your Dog, I think is the name of the song. It's something like that.
Well, for the one person listening that maybe has heard that
knows
song,
what the fuck that is. Iggy Pop and the Stooges. I think it's called I Want to Be Your Dog, or Now I Want to Be Your Dog. Look it up. It's a good song. All right, coming up next.
Wait, I have one more thing to say about the Bullet Club Gold promos. So Jay White says during his mic time that MJF has no friends.
Right.
And this is true, and this is a problem for MJF. He's been a face for a while now. Why is his only friend Adam Cole?
No, Max Caster is his friend. He just doesn't want him to be his friend.
Max Caster wants to be his friend.
Yeah,
Max Caster is not his friend.
Well, his only friend is Adam Cole because he's selfish. MJF. He doesn't do anything for anyone. He doesn't help anyone out of their jams. Mm-hmm. He's just focused on himself and maybe on Adam Cole. That's it.
If you were to give MJF some advice on how to make friends in the wrestling world,
run in and help some of the other baby faces from time to time.
Okay.
When they're in peril, run in and help them.
But all the other baby faces already have friends. He could just be another friend.
Just be the first one to run in.
Be just like waiting backstage, standing at Gorilla.
Exactly.
Waiting for your moment.
Exactly. Be ready.
Okay.
So, the AEW World Champion MJF is with Renee Paquette. And MJF says he'll get his belt back from Jay White before Full Gear, which I believe is November 18th.
It is.
He prays Juice Robinson wins the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal and says that if he does, then it'll be Juice's left hand of God versus MJF's right hand of the devil. Renee asks MJF about Adam Cole, baby. And up walk the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, the World Trios champions. Max Caster had offered up their services before for an 8-man tag. And Max Caster says tonight he'll be in the Battle Royal later, and MJF doesn't need to worry. He's going to take care of everything. He's going to win, and MJF doesn't even have to give up the Dynamite Diamond ring. MJF walks away, doesn't scissor any of them, disgusted. So here you're just asking how can MJF win friends and influence people? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Do some scissoring. There, you could have made 3 new friends right there. Mm-hmm. The World Trios champions. Scissor them folks. Make 3 new friends right there.
But he doesn't want to be friends with Max Caster because he views him as a stalker.
Well, he is kind of a stalker, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also found it interesting that you said that MJF says during this interview that he hopes that Juice Robinson wins.
And no, he said he prays. He said he prays Juice Robinson
because then
wins.
During the actual event, I'm going to kind of briefly spoil something.
Don't spoil anything.
Well, they're going to hear about it in a few minutes. Okay, when there's the last 2 guys in the ring, he says the opposite of that.
Okay.
You know? So it's odd.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
Up next, the Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida taking on Emi Sakura in a Women's World Title Eliminator match. Meaning, of course, if Sakura can beat Shida, she will get a shot at the Women's World Title. This was a nice, hard-hitting match between these 2 ladies. Rolling Crucifix nearly got a 3 count for Shida. And I tell you what, Emi Sakura and Hikaru Shida have quite the rivalry. They have faced each other, I'm not sure how many times, but several times in AEW. They always put their best feet forward, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. They put on some bangers. And I love Emi Sakura's noises that she makes.
I love everything about her.
She makes, throughout the match. Mm-hmm. And the faces that she makes.
She's one of my favorite women wrestlers.
Her gimmick is, that of the Mad Queen.
The Mad Queen. Mm-hmm.
So she makes all these, kind of faces, these sort of manga faces of mental illness. Or that would be like a mentally ill queen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a crazy queen.
Yeah.
That would go along with that. And she'll make these faces for 2 seconds and then go into a move.
Mm-hmm. I also like her, like, maniacal laughter that she does throughout the matches. Yeah.
No, she's great. Her character is terrific.
And I feel like her costume throws people off because they come out and she seems, like, cartoonish. But I don't think they get that, like, that's the character that she's portraying, you know? Like, and I think people misjudge her. And it makes me sad for her because I love her.
Yeah, she's great. Well, they misjudge her to their own detriment.
Yeah.
At one point, Emi Sakura picks up Shida kind of with a butterfly pickup and displays Shida to all 4 sides of the crowd, showing her strength, her balance, and then brings Shida down in a backbreaker. I was very impressed with that maneuver. Eventually, though, this hard-hitting match comes to an end. Shida hits the katana for the second time, and I tell you, she got all of it. The katana knee strike for the pin and the win. This was 4 bones out of 5. Very good match. Hikaru Shida got the pin and the win. No title shot upcoming for Emi Sakura.
I was so bummed.
Yeah.
I would love to see another matchup, but for the title. And one thing that you didn't mention that was like a big thrill for me, about 3/4 of the way through the match, Emi kicks out at 1, and it's like a moment of stunning shock to Hikaru Shida, and it was just a really great moment in the match.
Yeah. Sakura showing, she wasn't nearly beaten. And Sakura, I believe, older than Shida. I believe,
she's
isn't
like
she?
41, I think.
I believe she's older than that. I could
really?
be wrong. Could be wrong. So up next, we had the Rated R rebuttal. Adam Copeland was talking about how he originally intended to come to AEW to close out his career with Christian Cage, the TNT champion. He says that Christian wasn't interested, and Copeland says that whenever Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus leave Christian high and dry, he'll be there to pick him up. So Adam Copeland has pretty much told us how his AEW career is going to progress, seemingly.
Did you know that he went to school with Christian?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is
Yeah,
that like
from
common
Canada.
knowledge?
Yes, they've been friends forever.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. Did you look up how old Emi Sakura is?
She is 47.
I thought she was older, yeah. She's an older lady.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's great in the ring. Great. So Adam Copeland pretty much sets out... I mean, do you think it's going to be as simplistic as this? As Adam Copeland lines out, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus leave Christian high and dry, and Adam Copeland will be there to pick up the pieces, and Adam Copeland and Christian reform their tag team, which formerly, of course, in WWF was known as Edge and Christian.
No.
You don't think it's going to be as simplistic?
I think Adam Copeland. I think Adam Copeland is delusional if he thinks this is how the story is going to go.
How do you think it's going to go?
I think Christian is going to turn on Luchasaurus eventually, and he's going to go off and be a face. Like, I don't think Christian's going to have a face run anytime in the near future. You know, I don't think he's going to be shattered and need Edge to pick up Adam to pick up the pieces, you know?
Seems to have a strong relationship with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's calling him as father and shit, you know?
Yeah, they're really jumping in that story with both feet.
Yes, they are.
It's a little uncomfortable.
A little, yeah. Especially considering that Nick Wayne's father actually is dead, is really dead. They're not making that up. Anywho, up next, we head back to the ring. Wardlow comes out to face Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth. And he just comes out, power bombs him once, and the referee stops the match.
What the hell is up with that?
Well, here's the thing, is that what they realized is that the powerbomb symphony, as they called it, 3 power bombs, 4 power bombs, was getting over with the crowd, was getting him cheers. So he's a heel now, Wardlow is. So for him to get a heel reaction, they need it to be something like this. Just 1 power bomb, opponent is out, it's done. And then that'll get a boo. That'll get a negative reaction.
It's working because I have a negative reaction.
Yeah, it was lame. It was lame. That's how it came off to me.
Plus, poor Ryan Nemeth.
It was a pretty powerful power bomb.
But still,
he
hasn't been on TV in for freaking ever, and then he shows up and gets 1 power bomb on him, and he's done.
Yeah, it was pretty lame. And so post-match, Tony Schiavone comes in the ring and he asks Wardlow, why have you reemerged? Why are you back? And he points to his wrist tape, and written on his wrist tape is MJF. And he then pushes down Tony Schiavone, who bounces off the ropes and falls to the mat, and that earns Wardlow his boos.
Deafening boos. If you want to get over as a heel, put hands on Tony Schiavone, and the crowd will turn on you in an instant. As they should.
So we go backstage. Kenny Omega is with Renee, and Omega says he's, quote, the measuring stick in AEW. MJF walks up, wants to shake Omega's hand, and Omega is like, okay, yeah, sure. MJF then whispers in Omega's ear, 13 days, bitch. And of course,
creepy.
MJF is referring to how long until MJF's reign as AEW World Champion surpasses Omega's reign as the longest reigning AEW World Champion in history. And one thing that has been pointed out, it wasn't pointed out at this point on the show, but it has since been pointed out, is that October 28th, Collision, this coming Saturday, MJF and Kenny Omega will both be in attendance together.
Yeah.
So there have been hints we're going to get a match. They better not be hinting around like that and not deliver. That would be nice to
That'd
get
be awesome.
MJF actually wrestle a match,
Yeah. Can I say one thing that I think AEW is doing very well that WWE does not do well?
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 guys gunning for MJF right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in WWE, it's always which one person is trying to get the belt right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that it's all of these guys are just have their sights set on MJF, and who cares who else is going for it? That's what they want, you know? I love it.
I agree.
It's the way it should be. It feels like it makes the belt feel more important, and it makes the holder of the title that much more not elated. What's the word I want?
Lifted.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And well, speaking of people who were after MJF's title, before his injury, of course, Adam Cole. So back at Roderick Strong's house, Adam Cole makes coffee that Roderick hates because he hates hot coffee. Adam. And Adam Cole's like, fuck this, fuck you, I'm leaving, I'm done with this shit. And they says, no, Adam, I'm sorry. Look.
Well, what's funny is he takes a sip of the hot coffee and then spits it out because it's hot. Could he not figure out ahead of time that was hot coffee?
Yeah. I don't know. Oh. So this is where the they might have jumped the shark, a bit on these. So Roddy says, Adam, you know what was great was back in the day, you always made the best peanut butter and jelly. The best. And Adam was like, yeah, I guess I do make a pretty good peanut butter and jelly. And then, of course, the Kingdom guys are on board. They're like, yeah, make peanut butter and jelly. And Adam Cole proceeds to make a sultry peanut butter and jelly. I mean, this is like a porno. I mean, they've got, the music. Mm-hmm. They've got like close-ups on the guys.
Slow motion.
The guys' faces.
Yeah. Ooh.
Going, ooh, yeah. And like the slow motion spreading on the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Close-ups of the jelly jar. I mean, it's disgusting. It's pornographic.
It's funny.
But the problem is the PB&J still has the crust.
Which, again, he takes a bite of the sandwich and then spits out the bite because the crust is on it. Which, did he not realize that as he was biting the sandwich?
So Adam finally does get fed up and leaves as Roddy shouts, Adam! Adam! But this time, finally, Adam Cole does not turn back around.
That's true.
And come and do more asinine tasks. He's finally going to go take care of his surgeries that he needs done. And Roderick Strong, half to the kingdom and half to the camera, says he realizes what he's going to have to do to get his friend back. And that is, he's going to have to be nice to that scumbag. And of course, he's speaking of MJF. So whatever the hell the next step in Roderick Strong and the Kingdom's plot is, we'll find out next week, I'm sure.
Aren't you so curious to see what being nice to that scumbag looks like in Roderick Strong's mind?
Well, he's going to help him win a match. Don't you figure?
The match against maybe Kenny?
Well, the match against Juice Robinson.
Oh.
Well, I spoiled the Battle Royal winner now.
Oh, ha! It was not me.
So.
We all knew he was winning that Battle Royal. Come on.
So, I mean, don't you figure he's going to help him win a match? He's going to help MJF win a match.
Well, because
nice like you said, MJF has several targets on his back.
Yeah.
Adam Cole is not around to help. Mm-hmm. Someone is going to have to help.
Plus, if it's Roderick and the Kingdom, that's 3 guys.
Right.
And there's 3 Bullet Club Gold if you don't count the cardboard Jay White. What do they call it again?
Card Blade.
Card Blade, yes.
Rather than Switchblade.
Yes, again, yeah.
Doesn't make sense. But so, yeah, Roderick Strong and the Kingdom are going to help MJF keep his belt.
I think it's Card Blade instead of Cardboard.
No, they call him Card Blade Jay White rather than Switchblade Jay White.
No, I understand that. But I think it's a play on the cardboard.
I understand what the fuck it's a play on.
You seemed confused.
I'm not confused. So next, we go back to the ring. Don Callis, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Konosuke Takeshita are in the ring. Kyle Fletcher comes down. And that takes us into Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher. And this match is awesome.
Wait, are you not going to talk about what they talked about?
What'd they talk about?
The Don Callis, well, first of all, he insults Kyle Fletcher for losing the match that he joined the Callis family on their side in order to help the Callis family. Ended up ultimately losing the match.
Right.
And so this was Kyle Fletcher's chance to prove himself, and if he won the match, he was going to maybe be invited into the Callis family.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But that was what preceded the match. So there are stakes here. It's not just a match against Kenny Omega.
Yeah. And Kenny Omega, previously had said he's going to try to improve his putrid recent record. So during the match, Kenny tries his "You Cannot Escape" spot, but Fletcher does escape. He moves. very shortly after that spot, Omega hits a moonsault to the outside. Also, Omega hits a combination Hurricane Rana, power bomb into the V-trigger, gets a 2 count only off of that. Kyle Fletcher puts up a valiant fight. This match goes back and forth. Both men give it their all, but eventually Kenny Omega hits the one-winged angel for the pin and the win over Kyle Fletcher. Terrific match. This is the match of the week, the match of the night, and the match of the week. 4.5 bones out of 5 for Kenny Omega's win over Kyle Fletcher.
You put this match over Bryan Danielson and Andrade?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Great match. Cannot say enough about this match. Kyle Fletcher, I tell you, I mean, I hate to say it, but Mark Davis getting hurt has really let Kyle Fletcher show his
chops.
Show his chops. Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Not
the stupid kind, not the stupid wrestling chops, but the good kind of chops. Not the chops that we see in every match. I'm talking about literal chops.
He is amazing. He's terrific.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I don't think any of us had any idea how good he was.
I knew from all those Ring of Honor matches I watched.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
That's why I'm so big on the Aussie Open.
Well, hats off to you. Next, we have a Danhausen return commercial where Danhausen says, "Everyone will be cursed soon enough." So we look forward to the day. Hopefully it is coming soon. Hopefully it'll be before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice. I assume that's what they're planning. Back towards the ringside area, Lance Archer comes out beating up Barrett Brown, his opponent. And very soon after that, he hits his finisher for the pin and the win. Lance Archer, in his home state of Texas, makes his return to AEW and gets a very quick squash win over Barrett Brown.
Jake the Snake wasn't there with him, was he?
He was not, unfortunately.
I thought I saw him for a second, but then I think it was just a security dude.
We cut to Graffiti Park in Houston, Texas. Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana are there, and Swerve Strickland claims Hangman Page is the reason that he's not the AEW champion right now. And he tells Hangman Page, "It's not always you that pays for your actions." And he also says that he has like a song or a music video or something or other that's coming up on Rampage on Friday. His entrance music. He's going to have a music video for that coming up on Friday.
Does he say Page is the reason he's not AEW champion or TNT champion? Because didn't Page interfere in the TNT championship #1 contender match? Or he's just blaming Page for everything?
I wrote he's not the AEW champion. I might have meant TNT champion.
I mean, I could be just misremembering. I just think it would make more sense if it was the TNT champion, since he actually did.
So I don't
ultimately cost him that match against Bryan Danielson.
That would make more sense. So maybe it is the TNT championship.
I wrote for not having TNT belt.
Okay.
And he also said, I wrote a quote, "It's not always you
I said this.
who pays for your actions."
I fucking said the quote just a minute ago.
You didn't say it in a threatening voice, though.
Back in the ring, Sting comes out for the moment that everyone had kind of dreaded, and the moment that, if you'll go back to No Bones About Wrestling, I predicted correctly. I know other people did as well, so I'm not, patting myself on the back too much, but I did predict that Sting would be announcing his retirement in some form tonight, or this night, I should say, in Rosenberg, Texas. He comes out and he gives a off-the-cuff kind of kind of humorous, heartfelt, about 6 or 7 minute retirement speech, saying that he's not retiring right now, but he is winding things up. He says Revolution 2024 will be his retirement match, and there's no date set for Revolution 2024, but Revolution 2023 was in March this year. So just to give you an idea, we're looking at about 5 months from now is when he's going to retire.
Do you anticipate him having many matches between now and then? Yeah.
I do. Because he's having a retirement tour, so to speak. So everybody's going to be, wanting to get on the bandwagon, being able to say, I fought Sting. Because he has been around. He's been around. And now they're realizing, well, shit. If I want to be able to tell my grandchildren I fought Sting...
You got to do it now.
I got to do it. Now I really got to do it. I have to fight him now. So, yes, I think he's going to be a busy man, yes. And I hope he is. Do
you think he'll be doing more singles matches?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be doing his fair share of tag team matches. He is 63 years old. But I think he will be doing more singles matches than he has been doing. Yeah. Up next, during a commercial, we get a picture-in-picture, and it is the next Tony Storm silent picture. It is Gone with the Storm, and it's much better this time. They took our notes.
They did.
They had cards where the actors had lines. There was no pantomiming. It still was just a very simple scene. Very simple scene of a movie executive played by, what's his name?
RJ City.
RJ City. Trying to get Tony Storm, or I guess not trying to get her. He was welcoming her to his movie studio. And, of course, there's a, filthy line where he says, we're going to give you fruit baskets and bath bombs and pearl necklace. And she says, how dare you?
And she slaps him.
And she slaps him. And he says, I meant the jewelry. And so I'm not going to explain that joke.
Thank you.
But you look it up for yourself if you don't get the joke. Or don't. It's filthy. So I'm warning you. It's filthy. So if you don't like filthy jokes, don't look it up. Up next, we have a Jim Ross sit-down interview with Nick Wayne and his mom, who has no name. She's given no name other than Nick Wayne's mom.
Can I just say, it was a really odd transition between these two things.
Yeah.
Like, there was no transition. It was like the scene cut all of a sudden from Tony Storm, and then JR was like almost halfway through asking a question.
Well, that's AEW. Look, we got peanut butter porn, awesome Omega Fletcher match, Danhausen commercial, Lance Archer match, Swerve and Non-Honor Graffiti Park, Sting retires, Gone with the Storm, silent movie, Nick Wayne sit down.
It's like all over the place.
It's like ADD, yeah. It's like wrestling via ADD. It is all over the goddamn place, which makes sure that AEW is never boring. It's one thing, AEW is never boring. So, in the sit-down with JR, Nick says that Christian is better than his real dad ever was. And Christian shows up beside Nick Wayne and puts a hand on his shoulder, and he's in this red, red velvet top, like he's the devil or something, And Nick tells his mom to shut up. She's trying to tell Nick that she doesn't recognize him lately, and this isn't him, and he's acting pompous, and full of himself and he needs to take a look at himself. And she slaps him after he tells her to shut up. And Christian and Nick leave, and they leave and immediately get jumped by Darby Allin the minute they set foot outside the door. Darby is beating Nick on the ramp, and up come Christian and Luchasaurus. And they try to take out Darby. Sting arrives for the save, and somewhere in all of this, Nick Wayne hits the floor, breaks a tooth or two or three. I'm not sure how many, honestly. But he broke a tooth, and he was wearing this white hoodie, and it had blood all over the front of it, and you could tell he had one or two broken teeth, had blood all over his mouth. It was a scene, but he played into it pretty well, and was holding his mouth and pointing at it and being like, "Christian, he broke my tooth. He broke my tooth." And so he despite being in, I'm sure, some pain, he went with it and used it to make the scene even more ridiculous. So good for Nick Wayne in that respect. Up next, some of the matches for Dynamite next week, October 25th, 2023. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club are going to take on International Champion Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada. So that's a big one. Also, Tony Khan has a gift for Sting. Who knows what in the hell that could be. Women's champion Hikaru Shida defends her belt against Ruby Soho of the Outcasts. Renee has a sit-down interview with Chris Jericho. John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order take on the returning Rob Van Dam and his tag team partner, the FTW champion, Hook. The Ring of Honor six-man tag champions, Hangman Page and the Young Bucks, put their belts on the line against the Hardys and Brother Zay. And that is all we have announced for next week's Dynamite. Sounds like a pretty cool show. Some random matchups. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this last week on the show. I wish AEW would try and put some stories behind more matches. But apparently I'm not going to get my wish. So we're now at the main event, the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. The winner of this Battle Royal, 12 men enter, one is left standing, and that one man will face MJF next week on Dynamite for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So this has Dustin Rhodes, Juice Robinson, Max Caster, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Trent Beretta, Johnny TV, Matt Sydal, Commander, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, Jake Hager. MJF comes out for guest commentary, and at one point he stops, he walks down to the ring, he gives Dustin Rhodes money and whispers in his ear, and Dustin Rhodes gathers up Juice Robinson and does the Shattered Dreams, which is where he, puts a man astride a turnbuckle and then kicks him dead in the dick. So apparently MJF paid off Dustin Rhodes to kick Juice Robinson dead in the dick during all this. Daniel Garcia keeps trying to dance during the Battle Royal, and Daddy Magic keeps stopping him, much to the chagrin of the fans. Eventually, Garcia does dance, and he gets eliminated by Max Caster. And the Battle Royal, it eventually comes down to Max Caster and Juice Robinson. Jay White attacks MJF at the announce desk. And for a moment, MJF gets the best of Jay White, and he gets the world title belt back. And MJF is posing with the world title belt, and then right up behind him, Jay White comes and low blows MJF. And reclaims the world title belt. Back in the ring, Juice Robinson uses his cubic zirconium ring, hits Max Caster, knocks him out, and deposits his limp body over the top rope, winning the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. So MJF versus Juice Robinson next Wednesday for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and MJF swore that Juice Robinson is going to die. So we have that to look forward to. So let's head to Collision. October 21st in Memphis. Start the show off with Bryan Danielson versus Andrade. It was a nice back and forth. This is a great matchup. Danielson hit a Busaiku knee to the outside. Back in the ring, Andrade hit a nice split-legged moonsault. Danielson got his signature stomps to the face in. Andrade used Charlotte Flair's figure 8 hold, as he's been doing lately. Eventually, though, Danielson got Andrade by rolling into a crucifix pin and got the pin and the win. This was a terrific match, 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the match of the night for Collision. And after the match, Danielson raises Andrade's hand. The lights go out. They come back on. And Malachi Black shows up in the ring, and he spin kicks Danielson in the head.
Yeah!
The lights go back off. Black disappears. And the BCC appear. And they're looking after Bryan Danielson.
Can I just say that if they are heading toward a Bryan Danielson, Malachi Black feud...
Fuck yes.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I'm with that, for sure.
We haven't seen them face each other before, right? Like, I don't remember them facing each other in WWE.
Not that I remember, but we may be lucky, and Willie is listening and will, I'm sure, correct me.
Us, yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it happening, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. He'll be able to tell you, like, the date it happened.
Yes, yeah. So next we had Sky Blue, and she comes and she pins a new wrestler named Hollywood Haley in a squash match. And Blue was still doing her sad gimmick where, you know, she's been misted by Julia Hart and she has the mist seeping out of her eyes, that type of thing, and she's not smiling as much or at all, really. But the odd thing is she wasn't dressed, you know, in black and blue and sad shades. She was dressed as a cross between Scooby-Doo and the goddamned Mystery Machine. So I don't know how you try and sell that gimmick when you dress like a talking dog in a mystery van. Like,
she even had the, like, dog tag.
She had a Scooby-Doo dog tag,
yeah.
And a dog
SB
collar
it,
she was wearing, yeah. I don't know what the fuck was up with that. It was very odd.
And she keeps, like, winking at the camera, but the way she's doing it, since she's not smiling, it looks like a facial tic.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
We've started referring to this as dark blue.
Have we?
On the watch-alongs.
Oh, okay.
We started referring to her as dark blue.
No, I've not been on the watch-alongs lately. So yeah, I don't know where the Sky Blue thing is headed.
Can I just say Hollywood Haley is a stupid name?
I agree.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
It's awkward.
Shouldn't have been allowed on television.
No.
I agree. Next, the Guns beat the Outrunners in squash match. Not much to say about it. Guns look good. After that, we see again the kind of Crash TV, ADHD booking of AEW. We see the Devil Mask that we're most familiar with MJF wearing. We see it looking into the mirror. I guess he or she filming him or herself. And the head then turns and the feed is then cut. I don't know if there's a purpose to this or what, but I can tell you one thing for sure is that the person under this devil mask was different than the person under the devil mask when Jay White was beaten up. Excuse me. When Jay White was beaten up by the devil and his henchmen, it was a different person, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're supposed to have noticed that or not.
Right.
I would guess not.
Now, that may not mean anything.
Yeah.
You could have 10 different people play him and still say, oh, it's Ricky Starks, or oh, it's MJF, or, But it was a different person, if we are supposed to have noticed that. Next, Lexi Nair is with International Champion Orange Cassidy and TBS Champion Chris Statlander. Statlander exercises using Nair as a weight. Back in the ring, we have a Memphis street fight. It is a non-title match. Memphis legend Dave Brown guest announced the match. So we had Ring of Honor World Champion and New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Eddie Kingston. He was taking on Jeff Jarrett. And if Jarrett won, Jay Lethal would get a shot at Kingston's Ring of Honor Championship. So at one point during the match, this was pretty much the whole, group of oddities versus Eddie Kingston. At one point, Jay Lethal hit a diamond cutter on Kingston through a table. Jeff Jarrett beat Kingston's knee with an iron bar and then a garbage can and then a chair. And eventually the beating ends. Jeff Jarrett pins Eddie Kingston. I was not that into this. I was looking forward to this match, and I wasn't that into it. It was just kind of there. I give it 2.5 bones out of 5. And Jay Lethal gets a shot at Eddie Kingston's Ring of Honor World title. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, the World Trios champions, diss on Daddy Magic, Daniel Garcia, and Cool Hand Ange. And then Cool Hand Ange is leaving the interview area, and he sees Ruby Soho coming in, and they're flirting with each other, and they're seeing each other in reality. But what the point of this flirting was, I don't know. Are they gonna get with each other on the show too? Are we supposed to care? Don't know, but that happened. CJ Perry, Miro's wife, comes out to spectate the next match, which I expected to be a straightforward squash match. Of course, Miro versus Action Andretti. Weren't a whole lot of highlights. Lasted longer than I thought. Lasted
like 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
We timed it because we took bets on how long it was going to last.
Yeah. Action Andretti hit a springboard 450 splash that was pretty nice. Eventually, though, Miro cinched in the game over and won by referee stoppage when Andretti passed out in the game over. This was an okay match. I give it 3.5 bones out of 5. It was nice to see Miro in a match that lasted more than 2 minutes. It was nice to see that this was not an absolute squash. There's some give and take between the two competitors. I think they can make something of Action Andretti. He has a lot of potential. They kind of have been starting and stopping and not quite sure what they want to do with him. And is he going to be managed by CJ Perry or isn't he? I think maybe this settled he isn't. but I'm not sure. Next, Daddy Magic, Daniel Garcia, Cool Hand Ange, and Anna Jay talked about their title shot against the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass.
Which will be a battle of the belts.
Right. Oh, Ruby Soho comes on and says she deserves to be a champion. This is where the Cool Hand Ange and Ruby Soho thing happened. Yeah. Excuse me. Up next, there is a La Facción Ingobernables vignette.
That's right.
They're trying to fit everybody and everything onto this damn show. We cut to the trainer's room where Ring of Honor champion Eddie Kingston is bloody. He's lecturing Jay Lethal, saying he's going to beat Lethal in front of Lethal's mother, and what's going to make it even worse is that Lethal's mother knows he deserves the beating. So we head back to the ring, and we're set for FTR versus Bad Thad Brown and Darian Bingston. But the lights go off. Malachi Black is back. The stage lights go down. They're back up. The rest of the House of Black, Brody King and Buddy Matthews, are back. And the FTR versus Bad Thad Brown and Darian Bingston, no contest. They've been laid out. And so the House of Black are back and are showing force. Up next is the main event, the AEW World Tag Team title match. Big Bill and Ricky Starks defending against Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club. Starks hits a nice tornado DDT on Castagnoli. Big Bill with a nice big boot. Claudio hits the big swing on Starks. I love that move. Wheeler covers, gets a 2 count only, broken up. And who comes to interfere? Well, it's their night. The House of Black come to interfere. Ricky Starks eventually hits the Rochambeau on Wheeler Yuta and pins him to retain. Big Bill and Ricky Starks, still your World Tag Team Champions. Good main event. 4 bones out of 5. FTR come down to help out in this brawl. John Moxley returns. FTR hit a big rig and then a DDT on Starks. Claudio Castagnoli with an extended big swing on Starks. The Blackpool Combat Club had run down before John Moxley had. Yeah, and that's how we go off the air. We got a lot of folks fighting over, who's gonna be kind of the kings of Collision. CM Punk leaving or being fired, left a void, and no one has really stepped up and been in control of this show. And we still have folks fighting, and the tag team division has kind of been the driving force of Collision, I would say.
Yeah.
So, seems like Big Bill and Ricky Starks are in control of Collision to me. Real quick, I will tell you what happened at the Battle of the Belts 8. Not much to speak of. Chris Statlander successfully defended the TBS title against Willow Nightingale. Orange Cassidy successfully defended the international title against John Silver. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass successfully defended the World Trios titles against Daniel Garcia, Daddy Magic, and Cool Hand Ange. And Samoa Joe successfully defended the Ring of Honor World Television title against Tony Nese. All right, let's head to the news. What do you think? All right, so on Rampage, was it this past Friday that it took place?
Upcoming Friday.
Upcoming Friday, October 27th. on Rampage. It's been built up on Rampage, so that's where they're having the match. Mike Santana versus Ortiz.
What a waste.
A waste, you say?
Yeah, that's like a pay-per-view match. Why are you putting that on Rampage?
You don't think it gives people a good reason to tune in to Rampage?
I think it would if people didn't need more than one reason to tune into something. But I don't, and if it wasn't on a Friday night, like, people don't watch Rampage. That's not going to make them watch Rampage. It's going to make me watch Rampage, but we watch Rampage.
We watch Rampage.
It's not going to make me watch it live. We don't watch it live.
So, they don't need people watching it live. That's not how the ratings work.
I know, but I just feel like it's a disservice to these guys. Plus, like, WWE has been trying to build their Hispanic audience and their attention to the Hispanic representation on their brand.
Well, they've got WWE has their Hispanic legend Rey Mysterio on Friday nights for the U.S. title, so they're putting AEW is putting Santana versus Ortiz counter programming on Friday nights.
Are they on at the same time?
No,
I don't think so.
So I guess it's not counter programming. It's kind of
after programming.
After programming.
Yeah, I don't know. No. I don't think it's sensical.
I mean, I agree, but it has been built on Rampage. And I will say this, if you're one of those people who records Rampage on your DVR and doesn't watch it, go back and find the promos that these two have been cutting on each other on Rampage, and just watch those at least. If you don't watch anything else on Rampage, over the past 3 to 4 weeks, these two have been cutting promos back and forth on one another, and they've been terrific.
I know.
And they seem I hope they're not, but they seem heartfelt. It seems like these two really have a grudge. I hope that's not the case, but it seems like they really have a grudge against each other. And, like, we're going to see some violence on Friday night.
Here's the thing. AEW has 3 shows, 2 of which are 2 hours long, all of which have poor storytelling. We have a good story with seemingly real things happening, and you're putting it on your 1-hour show that has the smallest viewership. What are you doing?
Yeah, it should be on Dynamite, I agree.
It should be on Dynamite. It should be on Dynamite. They should keep building it, and this match should be on Full Gear. That is what I think.
I cannot disagree.
I think it's a disservice to both of these wrestlers.
Yeah, because if they work as hard... Yeah, if they work as hard at this match as they have at these promos, it's going to be some goddamn match, I tell you that.
Well, plus, like, when was the last time they had a match?
I'm not sure.
Like, it's been a while.
Have they not had matches since they've been back? They've had...
I don't think Ortiz has. Santana might have had, like, a squash match or something. I don't remember seeing Ortiz wrestle. Well, unless you count, they showed up when they returned in a match. Remember they were in that, like, 5-way? They were, like, the 2 surprise participants. On the heel side.
Nope.
Oh. Well, it happened, and they were. So since then, I don't think they've had a match. At least Ortiz hasn't.
All right. Also in the news, Brock Anderson has been removed from the AEW roster page.
Do not clap at that, you heartless man.
I tell you, I'm not for people losing their jobs, but hopefully this is a case of maybe just all sides realizing this was not happening. This was not working out. Because I tell you, we went to see Collision in August?
Sure.
Something like that. Seems
July? Maybe?
I don't know. We went to see Collision several months ago. And Brock Anderson was on it, and he stunk. He faced Luchasaurus, and he got pretty much squashed, did Brock Anderson. And when he went up for the choke slam, he didn't even get the correct amount of height. I mean, the guy literally could not even lose properly. It was not working. I'm not trying to beat the poor guy down, but I'm just saying this was not working. It's good that they cut him loose.
Hopefully things ended amicably so that when he improves, he will have a place he can return.
Hopefully that is what happens. Hopefully. Hey, I hope the guy improves and returns and is fantastic.
He's had a hard year.
I don't see it happening. He has had a hard time, yeah. I don't see it happening, but I wish everyone the best. I have no ill wishes against anyone. I just report what I see. Darby Allin recently appeared at Nitro Circus, which is a stunt show.
Yeah.
It's a stunt show where people ride around on bikes and...
Yeah, he did...
Tell me what it is.
He rode a tricycle.
Okay.
Down a giant ramp, and like the ramp that goes up like a ski jump, you know? And he tried to do a flip on the tricycle and then land on the other side of this giant gap. Except he didn't make it all the way around on the flip, and he landed on his shoulder.
Oof.
And then kind of slid down with the tricycle on top of him.
So he thinks his shoulder is fractured. And he did this... Did he do the bit on Dynamite with Nick Wayne with the fractured shoulder?
I'm not sure when the Nitro Circus was.
Oh, okay. So he thinks he has a fractured shoulder, so that stinks. Also, if you listened to Collision last week, as well as watched it, you noticed that Tony Schiavone was on in a play-by-play commentary role. He had addressed it with, the way I understand it, is he had addressed wanting to return to play-by-play with Tony Khan, and he had possibly thought maybe something like Rampage or something. And the next thing he knew, Tony Khan was saying, hey, you're doing play-by-play on Collision. So, bam, there you go. And I like Schiavone as a play-by-play man. I wish he would call more of the moves, but I like him as a play-by-play guy. He's got a good voice. He brings a good energy. His energy is good. And he's a heck of a lot better than Kevin Kelly. Oof. So yeah, best of luck to Tony Schiavone. Just throw in more move names, Tony. Please. And best of luck to him in his new role as Collision play-by-play man. This week, the Dynamite ratings increased. They headed back up over 900,000 viewers. So AEW has been on a roll of doing some, what I think, very quality television. Just having, some interesting stories, some entertaining characters, some excellent matches showcased. And fans are rewarding them, and maybe some new fans are finding the product. So we'll see where this increase leads, and if it continues. Maybe they can get over 1 million. That would be a nice benchmark. Because we don't pretend to be impartial here. We're rooting them on. We like AEW. We like WWE too, but we're rooting AEW on. They're the underdog. We want them to do well.
Plus they're better. Right.
The CMLL thanked AEW following the Mystico Rocky Romero match on Rampage. They sent a formal thank you notice, so that was very nice of CMLL, and I think we're going to see some more teaming between CMLL and AEW in the not-so-distant future.
Awesome.
And Mystico, if you're not familiar with him, you may know him better as Sin Cara. He was recently, in the last 5 years or so, he was in the WWE as Sin Cara. In the last 8 years, I should say.
I didn't realize that was the same person.
Yeah. But of course, they held him back to what he could do, and didn't let him reach his full potential in WWE, and he has since been allowed to reach it again in CMLL. All right. Talking about... we're still talking about the October 10th night when NXT went head-to-head with AEW, and Chris Jericho said that the AEW show was better than NXT. So there. I cannot comment. I did not see the NXT show.
I can't imagine that it was better than Title Tuesday. I
don't know. I can't comment. Didn't see it.
It's NXT.
Yeah, I just...
There's no way.
I don't think it's fair to comment on something I didn't see.
I'm commenting on it unfairly.
Adam Copeland and FTR have filed a trademark on Rated FTR. So I think we're going to see, some trios matches, at least one, and we're going to get a shirt out of it. So there you go, Rated FTR. May go longer than that, but that's all we're guaranteed, of course, is one trios match.
And at least one t-shirt.
And one t-shirt, right. Ring of Honor have set their next pay-per-view date, and I tell you, the last 2 Ring of Honor pay-per-views have been 2 of the better shows this year. So this is one not to miss, but this one it's a little different. It's not a pay-per-view, so to speak. It's Ring of Honor Final Battle. It's December 15th. It is exclusively on Honor Club. So you have to subscribe to Honor Club. It's $9.95 a month, and you get Ring of Honor every Thursday. And if you subscribe for the month of December, you will also get this pay-per-view on December 15th.
And you also get access to their back catalog.
Oh, right. To their back catalog, yeah, as well.
Which has got, amazing historical matches on it.
Yeah. It has, Samoa Joe from years ago, CM Punk from years ago.
Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, the list goes on.
Yeah, it really is something. The back catalog is
Dalton Castle versus Danhausen matches.
Dalton Castle, Danhausen, the
I don't know what you're pointing at.
The Briscoes.
Oh.
So that'll be a good show. We will be providing you coverage of that December 15th. Mark it down on your calendars. And as we previously noted, Sting's retirement match, the opponent has not been noted, but it will be at Revolution 2024. If I had to guess right now, I would guess Darby Allin.
That's my guess. I think it's the logical conclusion to the story.
But that's just my guess right now. So next up, you want to do rankings?
Yeah.
Top 5. Top 5. Top 5. Top 5.
Beautiful.
The top 5 rankings are proprietary and super secret, and we will never ever tell you how we come up with the rankings. So we come up with a top 5 for men, women, and teams each week. And where would you like to start, Kay?
I like to start with teams.
Okay. Number 5, they are back, and they are back in black. The House of Black. And this is for tag teams and trios, since there are so few around. Number 4, the Guns, coming back onto the list. Number 3, coming back onto the list, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club. Number 2, keeping their same spot as last week, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And that means the number 1 team, the same as last week, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, the AEW World Trios Champions.
But unlike last week, this week they're coming into number 1 on the list and can claim that they have scissored an NBA mascot, which they would not previously have been able to state.
What NBA mascot did they scissor?
They scissored Grizz on Battle of the Belts.
Oh, okay. The Memphis Grizzlies mascot.
Yeah.
So should we do men or women next?
Let's do women next.
All right, so top 5 women. Well, let me just run down the teams again. Number 1, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Number 2, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 3, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Number 4, the Guns. Number 5, the House of Black. Top 5 women. Number 5, back on the list, Willow Nightingale. Number 4, staying at number 4, Sky Blue. Number 3, back on the list, Emi Sakura, after a nice display in the Eliminator match against Hikaru Shida. Staying at number 2 after her successful Battle of the Belts defense, Chris Statlander, the TBS champion. And staying at number 1 after her Eliminator win over Emi Sakura, the Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida. So number 1, Shida. Number 2, Statlander. Number 3, Emi Sakura. Number 4, Sky Blue. Number 5, Willow Nightingale. And last but not least, the men, top 5. Number 5, falling a spot from number 4, Bryan Danielson, after his big win over Andrade on Collision. Number 4, falling a spot from number 3, Christian, the TNT champion. Number 3, jumping onto the list with his big Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal win, Juice Robinson of the Bullet Club. Number 2, due to his big win over Penta El Zero Miedo on Dynamite, Jay White. And staying number 1, I didn't mention Jay White staying number 2. Staying number 1, the AEW World Champion and one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, MJF. So number 1, MJF. Number 2, Jay White. Number 3, Juice Robinson. Number 4, Christian. Number 5, Bryan Danielson. And those are your rankings. All right, so every week we like to try and test ourselves, try and test our wrestling brains, so to speak, with a topic of the week, a question of the week. And, Kay, why don't you tell the listeners what our topic of the week is this week?
Well, after the number of squash matches we've had this week and every week prior for the last 2 months, our question is, what can you do to get a big man over besides having a squash match? Okay,
so the first thing is that they're afraid, I say they, Tony Khan is afraid to let the big men face each other, right? Doesn't it seem that way?
Yeah, it absolutely seems that way. We've had one Miro Powerhouse Hobbs match, and that I think is the only time in recent history we've had big men face each other.
We did have a series of Powerhouse Hobbs versus Wardlow months ago.
That was in January.
Yeah.
And that did not go well. They handled that poorly, I think.
Correct, yes. So let's see, who are we talking about when we're talking about big men in AEW? Big Bill, Wardlow, Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Luchasaurus.
I would put Samoa Joe on that list.
No.
He's a big man.
He's not on that list.
He's not considered a big man?
Okay.
I thought you said big man.
Okay.
I would also, you might not agree with me, but I would also include the guy from House of Black, whose name I just forgot.
Brody King.
Brody King, thank you.
Okay.
Because he's one that I feel like they're handling appropriately.
Yeah, Brody King. Do we feel like we've got everyone? I'm sure we're missing someone, but that feels fairly complete.
I don't know if you'd count him, but Satnam Singh.
Oh, Satnam Singh.
He's
There's
like
another
7 feet tall.
Yeah. So, and that's a problem, I think, in AEW overall, is that, and now we're starting to see more Class A matchups. You know, we're starting to see more Bryan Danielson versus Andrade thrown out there. More Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher thrown out there. But, you know, why can't we on a random night just see Jay White versus Miro, just for example? Why can't we say, just forget about Jay White, bad example. Why forget about Jay White? Why can't we just see Big Bill versus Miro on a random night? Why are they so protected? Why can't we see Luchasaurus versus Samoa Joe? Like, and as I'm saying these, you know these are matchups we would never see on AEW TV. Brody King versus Lance Archer. And think, all three of these I've named so far, they sound pretty interesting to me. Sound like good matches. I would be around the television, but you wouldn't see any of them. Wardlow versus Big Bill. Bam, there's another one. Like, that's my point, is you can take almost any combination of these names that we've just put together here, literally put together on the spot. You can take any combination, and it sounds like an intriguing matchup. And the reason it does is because of how protected these wrestlers have been. They've not been allowed to face almost any interesting competition, much less face each other. Other heavyweights, super heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Let's call them super heavyweights.
Yeah. Well, I think one problem might be that I think they're all heels, aren't they? Aren't they all heels?
Okay, let's see. Big Bill, heel. Wardlow, heel. Miro, heel. Powerhouse Hobbs, heel. Lance Archer, not sure. Luchasaurus.
He's never been a face.
Heel.
Lance Archer.
Samoa Joe, heel. Brody King.
He's with the House of Black.
Heel. Satnam Singh, heel. That's a problem.
Yeah, they're all heels.
All heels. Lance Archer, you think he's a...
He has never been a face.
All heels. Big problem.
Yeah.
You know, look at in WWE, Diesel, big man, big face. And same thing, Kevin Nash when he went to WCW. Big man, big face, super popular. The Giant was a big face in WCW as well. Big man, big face. Andre the Giant, one of the most popular wrestlers in the history of the damn world. So why does Tony Khan seem to equate tall men with evil monsters? You know?
Yeah.
Why can they not be heroes in his world? Because I'll tell you, you know, who's a combination... Now, he has a good thing going on. I'm not saying let's fuck it up right now. But who has a good combination of charisma and wrestling ability and size and speed is Big Bill.
You used the word charisma with Big Bill?
Yeah, he's funny. He's a funny guy. He's shown us in the past.
He's been with funny people.
No, he is funny. He can do funny things. He's made me laugh on several occasions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. Now, he wasn't the Enzo Amore of the act in WWE, of course. Mm-hmm. But he's a funny guy. But, like, let's pick out someone else. Lance Archer could easily be a face.
He's got those smiling eyes that I always talk about.
Okay, well look, who could be a face?
Lance Archer could be a face.
Easiest. Who could be a face?
Lance Archer is the easiest.
Okay, face.
I think Samoa Joe could be a face because people love him.
Yeah, people love him. So Joe, face. You can make the House of Black faces. Well, no, not right now. Not right now.
I think Brody King could easily be a face if he wasn't with them, but they need to keep them together.
All the other ones need to be heels right now, so we at least got 2 faces out of it. Lance Archer and Samoa Joe.
You could maybe make Miro a face.
Yeah.
You gotta do some work.
Okay.
Like lay some groundwork.
3 faces and 6 heels we got. So another thing, it wouldn't be just let them face each other, make them face each other. Because let's get some entertaining matchups. Here's another one. Like I said, I'll just pick Brody King versus Big Bill. Maybe I said that already. Brody King versus Samoa Joe. There, bam. I mean, these matchups, they all sound intriguing because we haven't gotten to fucking see them.
Well, but it's not just we haven't seen big men face other big men. We haven't seen big men face other men.
Yeah, we haven't seen big men face. That's what I'm saying. We haven't seen them. They've been protected.
Yeah, I mean, like anyone. Like put them against Juice Robinson. Put them against Ricky Starks. Like put them against.
Yeah, it's either a
jobber, another wrestler.
It's either they face a jobber, or they're in a tag match, or they're not on television.
Yeah, those are the 3 choices.
Or I should say, not in a match.
Yeah,
not on television. But they don't get singles matches because of how protected, they are very often. And another consideration to make might be maybe, and now I'm the last person that you would think of to say this. I am in favor. Before I say this, I will say I'm in favor of getting rid of over half the belts in AEW right now. But this is one belt I would consider maybe adding, called a super heavyweight belt. Who the hell wouldn't want to say super heavyweight champion? That sounds awesome. And then have it be over, what's the line? 250? It's got to be
the way they claim their weights,
280. 280.
Or a height.
Well, it'd have to be by weight. Wrestling is traditionally by weight.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Call it at least 280, and probably more.
All
these guys are over 280.
300.
Are all these guys over 300?
I bet. They're all really tall.
Yeah, all these guys are over 300. Call it 300 pounds. Call it 300 pounds. Yeah. Call it 300 pounds and over. Yeah.
You could easily get rid of the TNT or international belt and replace it with a super
heavyweight championship, and get some big, hoss fights, as people call them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people would really enjoy that. Seeing big men, and they don't all have to be just brawling matches. We can have some technical big men. We can have some big men, some high flying big men. Vader used to be able to do a fucking moonsault,
I know you're not going to like me saying this, but that one Iron Savage
fucking God, no.
I'm just saying.
Not with the Iron Savages, no.
I'm saying he can do a moonsault.
No.
He can, I've seen it.
Not with the Iron Savages, no. No.
So they're not allowed to go for this belt?
I guess so. But they're not on the list. Just, they're jobbers.
Yeah.
They're not on the list. That's why they're not on this list.
I also had temporarily forgotten they existed.
I hadn't.
So that's another reason they're not on the list.
I hadn't. But yeah, so that's how we look face side. Miro, Lance Archer, Samoa Joe. Heel side, Big Bill, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Luchasaurus, Brody King, Satnam Singh. It's an interesting division.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Go for a super heavyweight division. You got more big monsters than WWE has. You've got a collection of them. You've been collecting them. Like you're going to sell them. You know? Do something with them. Do something interesting with them.
You need a better name for the belt than Super Heavyweight.
I think Super Heavyweight sounds awesome.
Like a Kaiju belt or something.
It's not the Kaiju belt.
Kaiju belt. And it's just shaped like a giant monster mouth.
Big beef belt. You like that?
It's a triple B.
Big beef belt?
Yeah.
The big muscle with the bustle and the hustle belt, baby.
Very good. Very succinct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. They say all the best belt names can't fit on the actual belt.
Oh, is that what they say about the New Japan Strong Openweight Men's Champion?
Yep. But seriously, whatever you call I say super heavyweight. So, a division where these guys fight each other. If you're going to protect them so much that I get you don't want them. I mean, I wouldn't want Samoa Joe losing to Juice Robinson either. If he were in my company, I get it.
But you can have him facing
At
Juice
least have
Robinson.
these big guys facing each other. You can have him beat Juice Robinson, right?
Yeah.
But my point was at least have these big guys facing each other if they're not going to fucking fight anybody else in a one-on-one match. And then get some more. Why not? Make it a thing. Because people would dig it. People would love a super heavyweight division, I think. People love those type of matches, you know? People get up for, like, Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs. People were into those. And what's another one that we've actually seen? Is that it? Miro versus
Powerhouse Hobbs.
People were into that match. I mean, people want to see that.
Oh, what about the Gates of Agony?
Oh,
Brian Cage.
Bam. Oh, fucking goddamn. Forgot Brian Cage. Brian Cage, Toa, and then more heels.
Yeah, more heels. They're all heels.
Toa Leona, and what's the other one?
Bishop Khan.
Bishop Khan. Oh, make Brian Cage a face. And the Gates of Agony can be heels. So that's like 4. Anyways, my point is we've got a bunch of names here. We've got Big Bill, Wardlow, Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Luchasaurus, Samoa Joe, Brody King, Satnam Singh, Brian Cage, Toa Leona, Bishop Khan. All these guys that could and should be fighting each other, one-on-one matches. They're all big monsters. You don't have to protect them. They're fighting each other. If they are the best in the world, as your company should be hiring the best wrestlers in the world, you shouldn't have to protect anyone because the thing should be anybody could beat anybody on any given night, you know? So you shouldn't have to protect anyone. And if you put these, you know, big monsters fighting all together, and like I said, give them a belt for which to compete. Hey man, that sounds like a good idea to me. So, and it sounds like a way better way than they're used now, which again is either in a tag team match, in a squash match, or not in a match at all.
Or as like muscle. Like Satnam Singh and Brody King have just been like the general.
Yeah, Brody King accompanies fucking Julia Hart to the ring.
Yeah.
Great use of Brody King. Good contract.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I agree.
What are you doing? When you could be having Brody King versus Bishop Khan.
Yeah, we did get a Brody King versus Andrade match.
Okay.
Like in the early Collision days.
But I think we've made our point.
Yeah.
I think we've made our points. So, folks, this has been AEW Weekly. I have one real quick, an event I want to tell you about coming up October 29th. That is Sunday. We are doing one more watch along for a WCW Halloween Havoc. It is going to be the 29th at 1 p.m. WCW Halloween Havoc 97. that is main evented by Hollywood Hogan versus Rowdy Roddy Piper in a steel cage match. And the best match on the show is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr. in a title versus mask match for the Cruiserweight title that is a fucking classic. There are other matches on the show. It's a good one. It's one of the better Halloween Havocs. So we're going to start it at 1. I will be there. Kay will be there. We're going to be in costume. Come at 1. We're going to start it probably around 1:10. So show up, and then, we'll kind of talk about the show for a couple minutes, and we'll have a countdown around 1:10. It's on Peacock. Just search for Halloween Havoc 1997. And then we'll have a countdown to where we all press play so we can all be watching the show at the same time. So we'll all press play at the same time. But yeah, we will have, like I said, costumes. We'll have some jokes. We'll have some interesting facts. We'll have all that stuff that we've had on the other watch-alongs that have been hits, I think. So, yeah, show up, because this is going to be the last one for Halloween Havoc. These have been fun, so I think we might do them for Survivor Series too, though. So we'll see. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. But October 29th, 1 p.m., watch along. It's on our YouTube channel. So just watch our YouTube channel, or whatever. Come to our YouTube channel at 1 p.m., October 29th, for the watch along.
You can always subscribe to our YouTube so that you get a notification.
Yep, and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss a podcast. And thank you for listening. And wherever you do get our podcast, make sure to rate us 5 bones, 5 hearts, 5 pumpkins. Yeah, tell them how much you love us, please. We really appreciate it. And yeah, as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.